Hi everyone, my name is Emma Murphy and I'm here with Patrick Cairns today, and we are going to discuss Chapter 54, Can Data Win a Presidential Election? So, this chapter describes the use of analytics by Democrats and the GOP in the recent presidential campaigns. Barack Obama's presidential campaign in 2012 was known to use sophisticated analytical tools to defeat Mitt Romney. However, this took a turn when Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump in 2016 due to the lack of attention to the power of social media. Obama's victory was made possible by the extensive use of the Catalyst Voter Database, which is a publicly available information database from voter registration data and contains information to date on 185 million registered voters and 55 million unregistered voters. This data includes things like voters' name, their address, party, registration, voting history, age, and gender. Some states do include race as well, but not all of them. This data can further be grouped into neighborhoods once the US Census data is able to provide an address. Catalyst then makes a business by putting this data together and selling it to progressive or liberal candidates for use in their campaigns. So, continuing on, we took a look at the VAN scores, or the Voter Activation Network, which allows Democratic campaigns to operate with the use of databases like Catalyst. The members of these campaigns work diligently to examine demographics, reach out to voters, and survey different areas. If they notice one area has an overwhelming amount of, say, elderly individuals, then these campaign workers may work on calling these individuals to see if they need a ride to the polls so they can get out there and vote. The data seen in the two graphs on this slide show the amount of kids in a household and income from the San Diego County Democratic Party in 2016. They show different distributions, which will then allow the campaigns to infiltrate and see what they can do to gain more votes in each of these areas based on the given data. Their goal is to get as many votes for their candidates as possible. It is then possible to compute these scores by using over 100 variables and analyzing with logistic regression to estimate the probability that an individual is a Democrat based on independent variables like age or gender. This is seen in the graph below these two, computing these possibilities of a likely outcome that the voter may be a Democrat. So it all comes down to analytics. Elections are not a guessing game, and campaigns spend millions of dollars as well as long hours to help their campaign come out victorious. The Obama campaign created updated daily scores to estimate whether a voter would vote for Obama or Mitt Romney. There turned out to be 15 million toss up voters. But Ryan Ghani, who was one of the members of Obama's analytics team, came up with an idea. He was able to identify 15 million toss up voters in the swing states through Facebook by asking those who signed into the Obama campaign website to scan their friends list. The use of Facebook and analytics allowed Obama to win with identifying these toss up voters. This shows how analyzing the data is able to win an election for individuals as they analyze what voters are thinking about. So I'll now pass it off to Patrick, who will discuss these analytics in 2020 and beyond.
Kind of just pushing along where Emma left off in the second half of chapter 54. Obviously, we see in this chapter the power of social media and analytics in politics. So kind of just starting off with that, the DNC versus the GOP, or RNC. So to start, the DNC purchased every phone number for every eligible voter in January 2020, meaning that their cell numbers are being merged into their eligible voter database. Also, they announced their new predictive analytics model, Sonar, which was said to increase their overall efficiency by 35%. Pushing forward, we see some anecdote from Brad Parscale in the study of his use of social media, specifically Facebook ads, in the 2016 campaign of Trump's campaign, because Parscale was the head of the social media campaigning. The big thing with Parscale is that he used micro-targeting in his campaign, specifically referencing Project Alamo, which was honoring fallen Americans who died at the Alamo. He bought millions of Facebook ads designed to persuade people to vote for Trump. His micro-targeting uses data from Facebook to create ads that will appeal to potential voters. Example, a particular issue that came to light amid the Rust Belt was that they cared about failing infrastructure. So as a result, Parscale then designed ads designed to target that audience, which said that Trump will fix roads and bridges in order to gain their vote. Furthermore, he did make extensive use of a lookalike audience. Lookalike audience essentially uses Facebook to pair targeted list with an audience of similar interests. Example, of this would be if you create a target list of 300,000 people in Excel and then enter it into Facebook, it will then match that total with like-minded people. In doing so, you can then create one ad to appeal to the masses. Pushing forward, we have Russia's use of social media in 2016. Their Internet Research Agency, or the IRA, bought over 3,000 Facebook ads in 2016. 11 million Americans were exposed, with 36,000 Russian bots releasing over 130,000 tweets. While the ads did emphasize decisive political issues such as immigration, uh, First Amendment rights, and things of that nature, there was no clear correlation as to who these ads were advocating for. While Trump did win the swing states of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin by 107,000 votes, there was no clear correlation between who these ads were targeted for and advocating for a single candidate. But with that being said, if Clinton did win those swing states, she would have then won the election. Then pushing on to Cambridge Analytica in 2016. It's a British firm that illegally obtained info on 87 million Facebook users. Michael Kosinski used a My Personality app developed by David Stilwell to trace Facebook likes to personality and in turn political affiliation with an accuracy of about 85%. The new app they then pushed on to develop off the basis of My Personality app was called This Is Your Digital Life, which harvested 87 million Facebook users' info and could be used to influence voter behavior. I think it said that in the article that they only had about 26,000 users, but they would then go into the friends list of those users and then pivot their techniques to then draw on information from the friends of friends and keep pushing forward until they obtained tens of millions of users. Founders merged with Strategic Communication Laboratories and Steve Bannon, who was one of the heads of Trump's political campaign, to use data for political purposes, and they then renamed their company Cambridge Analytica. This type of data has been used to back Republican candidates such as Ted Cruz and reportedly Donald Trump in 2016. Obviously, from this chapter, we see the power of social media and analytics in elections and politics as a whole, and we should be mindful of it, especially going into this next election. Thank you, and looking forward to hearing your responses.